Hey guys, CynicUK here today, and today we're going to be looking at Overprime's new video on Kakia. We're going to be breaking down the whole video. We're going to be looking at new things, and we're also going to be breaking down the video piece by piece and kind of go into a little bit more detail. The last video I did was kind of just showing my hype for the game. It wasn't necessarily a breakdown video, but in this video we're going to break down things. We're going to look at it frame by frame. We're going to look at Kakia's kit, and we're going to kind of talk about it. If I think it's good, if I think it's bad, I think it's OP, and we'll talk about the rest of the things that we also see in the game. Other than that, dudes, I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, let's get started. So here's all the information that I can kind of break down from Kakia's Q. So Kakia's Q is a camo. At level 1 it costs 30 mana. It lasts around 9 to 10 seconds of camo time, and the cooldown is 7 seconds at level 1. So basically what happens is she presses her Q ability and she turns translucent on her side and on her teammate's side, and she has this white icon above her head with an eye. I'm unsure if this changes depending on if she gets close to a target, like if she has like an Evelyn type or Predecessor type Q ability, where the closer she gets to the target, maybe she gets revealed, or like maybe a ghost is revealed. Because there isn't a really good example in this video, because every time she uses the Q, she uses a range attack to engage, so it's very unclear from that perspective. But that's all I can kind of get from just the video itself. Here's the example where Kakia is carrying the prime buff, but is also camoed, but the Murdoch is able to spot her, and the white icon doesn't change. So what this says to me is that if you're carrying the prime buff, you are still visible in camo, which in my opinion is a smart idea, especially with stealth / camo characters carrying an objective. So let's talk about Kakia's E ability. At level 1, it's a 14-second cooldown. It's almost like a leap with a shadow slash before the slam down finish, I guess you could say. And it does 71 damage on the first initial shadow slash, and it does 71 damage when Kalari comes down and hits the target. After Kalari hits the target the second time, it looks like she's like almost like rooted for like half a second, or like around 0.3 seconds. I'm unsure if the target is rooted or locked in place or anything like that. It doesn't show any animation on Murdoch whether he's stunned like it does with Kakia's ultimate on Muriel. We'll get into that later on. Kakia's R&B ability is at level 3. It costs 60 mana, does 137 damage to this Muriel in the clip, and has a 5-second cooldown. At first I was unsure whether this was a range attack or if it was just an empowered auto attack, but honestly it flows so well with its animation that it does look like an empowered auto attack, but it is actually also ranged. I will show a slow-mo within this part of where the Kalari actually throws and misses a dagger. So it is ranged. It's hard to tell how far you can throw it from, and if there's a difference between using it in close range or throwing it, but I guess we'll find out. So Kakia's ultimate at level 1 costs 60 mana, 85-second cooldown, and the first hit on a target will stun that target, dealing 80 damage, and then the follow-up is between 9 to 10 autos, which will do 41 damage per. Has a really cool animation. I really like this, and the fact that it CCs them just brings a whole new dynamic to Kalari in the jungle, because she doesn't rely heavily on her teammates to CC them. And she has like gap closer, point and click, and also an ultimate point and click. So I think Kalari is going to be very, very strong. Obviously it depends on her actual numbers, because as we can see that these are showcases, and it's kind of like showcasing the character that they're trying to show off. So we don't actually really understand fully how they're going to work in an actual environment. So obviously take what you see with a pinch of salt, and I guess we can find out for ourselves when we actually play it, or when we see some actual gameplay from the devs and mods. So they added teleporters in the game, which I quite like. It adds a different aspect of the game that you have to think of. It can allow for fast rotates, it can allow for more creative play in terms of if you're offlane the shoves and there's nothing for him to do, he doesn't really want to invade, and he can see that his duo can be ganked, he can take the teleporter and obviously look for a gank. Again, I don't know if there's any like sound that the enemy can hear, I don't know if there's any visual effects that the enemy can hear, or even see you flying out of the teleporter from their lane. I'm unsure about this, but I do think it gives a nice different aspect to the game, which I honestly am for. I really do quite like this teleporter stuff. So they have bushes and they have shadow pools. How do I feel about this? I think that bushes are fine. I don't really have a big deal with it. It all depends on how well they've done their vision and how much vision you can have out at one point, because if you can only place down one ward at one time per person, I think it's going to create a lot of issues in terms of the fact you need to ward a teleport, you need to ward an alcove, you need to ward a jungle, you need to ward a bush in the lane, just so you can have some sort of safety. I think, obviously, I don't know how their vision works, so this is all speculation at this point, but I think the bushes are good. I think the alcove is good, I think the teleporter is good. Again, maybe having all of them at once is probably going to be a little bit overkill in terms of the jungle being very strong, because in Fault, all you've got to do is worry about the lane and the jungle. Very easy to ward the jungle. And in Pred, you've got to worry about lane pressure, because it creates that line of sight breaker for the jungler to use the alcove, and then obviously you got to worry about the jungle. So in those situations, there are 2 or 3 things to worry about, whereas in Overprime, you've got to worry about at least 4. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays, and also the fact that you can shoot whilst inside of the bush and not be revealed unless there's vision, but obviously if there's vision in there, you already knew he's in there. So there's a Murdoch near the prime dunk spot where he's standing in the bush shooting at the Kalari. The Kalari doesn't know where he's shooting from because there's no indicators, and then he eventually walks out of the bush and then she has vision. So this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out in an actual game environment and not some showcase, but I guess we'll find out. Looks cool, I can't wait to try it. So yeah, on to the next thing. So before we talk about the next few thing, I would like to say thank you guys if you've gotten this far in the video. If you wouldn't mind, could you please subscribe and leave a like? Sorry to sell out, but I gotta do it. So the next few things I want to quickly brush up on are: 1, what on earth is this thing? Harvester? Question mark. And also, what is that thing behind the harvester that spawns in the middle of the alcove? And also, I'm wondering whether that will actually block / aggro if you try and run down the alcove whilst that thing is spawned, because it spawns right in the middle. Unsure what it is. I have no idea how it works. I just wanted to briefly touch on upon that. What do you guys think it is? Also, what do you think the harvester does? Very curious. The next thing I wanted to bring up is there was a few clips where the Kakara was dealing quote-unquote back attack. It came up in the damage feed where it was doing back attack, but I didn't see any discrepancies in terms of a back attack and a normal attack. There wasn't any number differences or anything that I could really tell. In my eyes, a back attack is kind of like what you do with Shaco in League, where you do bonus damage, but it doesn't display that on the damage notifiers, so I'm unsure what that does. I don't really want to comment too much about it because I don't understand it. And then obviously the elephant in the room is my concern, which is the FPS. I don't really know what system specs this PC was played on. I don't know what optimization settings this guy is running on, and I also don't know whether this is a dev build. But maybe the FPS is a cause for concern because it does drop quite low in certain situations. But again, this is just a showcase. Maybe there's something I don't know, but again, I just thought it was something that I should bring up because it's something that I am curious about. But other than that, guys, I hope this video was somewhat insightful and better than the last video. But yeah, I appreciate you guys getting this far in the video. And what are you guys' thoughts about Overprime? Are you guys hyped for the showcase? And I'll see you guys next time. Peace, my dudes.